Let's have a look at question 10 now. So we assume in the remainder of this exercise that the values of T, Q, and C are such that the optimal number of trainings, so the number of trainings that maximizes profits, is greater than 2. Okay, so in question 10, we want to find out the profit maximizing number of trainings. We want to see whether this is the case or not. Now, one thing to keep in mind, because we're maximizing profits as a company, we do so when the marginal revenue is equal to our marginal cost. And we're dealing now with trainings, so we have to have a marginal revenue from the trainings, which is equal to the marginal cost of trainings. Now, when we're speaking about the marginal cost of trainings, we've already seen in the previous video over here that the cost of training, the cost per training, is C. So that is the marginal cost. Every additional training costs C. So the marginal cost is set for us. Now the question is, what is the marginal revenue? Well, we know that marginal revenue has to deal with an additional revenue, an increase in revenue. And the revenue depends on the production. So the additional production that we're speaking about, because that production is what we sell on the market. That makes us money. And we can see that this is our additional production. Q is the marginal production for every training that we incur. So if we get an additional production Q for the training, the question is, how much are we gonna get it? And we're gonna get it for all the periods between the retirement and the optimal number of trainings that we pay for the worker, because we will have an optimal number of trainings that maximizes our profits. And all the periods beyond that is gonna produce us additional revenues. Because what's the idea here? The idea is that the optimal number of training is not gonna be all the periods until the retirement, right? We're going to have a point where it's not wise for us to invest in training anymore because of diminishing returns. Like, we cannot train a person to be incredibly good all the time. He's gonna improve, but improve at a diminishing rate. And when he hits diminishing returns of productivity, we stop there. We trained him enough, but the fact that he improved his productivity, right? We'll find the value of optimal trainings. So we'll find the value of optimal trainings, and whatever is left between the optimal number of trainings until he retires, that worker will still bring us marginal productivity, because he's already at a skill level that gives to the company extra productivity Q. So this quantity will carry along until he retires. In other words, what we wrote over here, the difference between the optimal number of trainings and the retirement periods is gonna be the benefit to the company, because the worker produces additional quantity, additional output. Now, what we're looking for is the optimal number of training, so we're looking for this T star. Let's calculate T star, which is going to be T minus T star equals to C divided by Q, because we would take Q to the other side. And now, because we want to leave T star only, let's take T star over here and C divided by Q over there. So as a result, we will have that the optimal number of trainings T, is going to equal to T minus C divided by Q. And what we can see is that this is the same expression as we have over here. In other words, the answer is true, and we are done.